And hello YouTube, this is Thomas Judge back once again, and today we're going to do another installment of my ongoing series, Little Known Comics You Should Try. And believe it or not, we're looking at one of the big two today, and in fact we're looking at Superman, one of the biggest characters, and I guess the most well-known comic characters that there is. And yet I still view this as a little known comic that people underrate, don't talk about, and should try. So what is this? Well, we are looking at my Superman Unchained hardcover as part of my New 52 collection. Superman Unchained is a series that came out during the New 52. It came out in 2013, it ran until 2014. It was written by Scott Snyder, of Scott Snyder fame. If you know anything about comics in the last 10 years, Scott Snyder is a huge name. And it was drawn by Jim Lee. Jim Lee being one of the best artists who has ever lived, very high up in DC, hugely formative in the comic industries ever since the 90s. So we've got top tier writing, top tier artwork, and we've got a great story. And yet somehow this is really, really under-considered and little known. So, what can I tell you about before I dive into the actual hardcover and the story? Well, it's a 9-issue story. It was originally solicited in 2013 to coincide with the 75th anniversary of Superman. And it actually got released, I think, 2 days before the Man of Steel movie came out. So it was quite a big marketing push, quite a big deal in terms of stuff like that. It ran for a year and a half. It was meant to be an ongoing series, so just an open-ended thing. But you won't be surprised to hear, if you know anything about Jim Lee, they eventually curtailed it at 9 issues and had it as a closed maxi series. Jim Lee isn't necessarily as dependable for long-term ongoing artwork as one might like. That said, do not think this ends on a cliffhanger. This is a very well considered and fully contained 9-issue series. In fact, issues 8 and 9 were delayed, then cancelled, and resolicited months later, just to make sure the full story was told. And so this is the full 9-issue series. It's collected in a deluxe edition, which is beautiful. And frankly, this deserves the absolute treatment. So let's have a look at the dust jacket. We've just seen the front and the back here. Usual stuff. Biggest writer, biggest artist, biggest hero. All true. Artwork is banging. The dust jacket looks like this. So standard sort of thing. Opening French flap with a blurb. Creators, all good. It's just standard gloss, but it looks nice. Get that out of the way. What we have here is a completely standard cover. It's just black. It has very faint deboss. You can see here, Superman Unchained, done in the classic Superman font. But otherwise, we have a standard, well-constructed hardcover. No problems at all. Nice, thick, glossy paper. Now we're getting into the artwork. This is just an awesome comic and an awesome series. Great artwork. This deluxe edition does include some features from the director's cut, which basically means it has got some of these pencil sketches and bits and pieces in it. I'm not going to give a spoiler. What I'm going to say is this. This was set in and released during the New 52, and I think, or I suspect, one of the reasons why this is underappreciated and often overlooked is people assume that to read this, you have to read the Superman New 52 comics. Now, I've done, as many of you are aware, one of the most comprehensive reading orders for the New 52 comics available on the internet. I have a whole playlist on it here. And as part of that playlist, I've got all the Superman comics, and they are a hot mess. It's probably the most confusing part of that entire playlist. So people think that this is within that. Understandably, that's hella confusing. And so I think people get put off. What I'll point out is that is not the case. This is a completely self-contained story. The fact that it's in New 52, the only reason you can really tell that is simply because of his outfit. It's got the distinctive New 52 outfit, which lacks the visible kind of red underwear on the outside look. But otherwise, there is nothing to lock this down as a New 52 story in any particular way. If anything, consider it as a self-contained Elseworld story. And nowhere is that more apparent than in the introduction of this character. This character is one of the primary, I'm not going to say antagonists, because that's not fair to say. It's a character called Wraith, which is a brand new, completely original character. This is Lois Lane, by the way, looking cool. Wraith is a brand new, completely original character for this story, and is just hella interesting. I'm not going to provide spoilers, but just to give you a little bit of context, and you can get this from just the back blurb of the dust jacket. But long story short, there's been a superhuman or a superpowered being living in America for 75 years not Superman, and working for the US government. If that isn't exciting, I don't know what is. As a setup, I can't think of a better one. Once you combine that setup with Scott Snyder's storytelling and artwork like this, I mean, come on, you are looking at an absolute recipe for success. They could have dropped the ball. They could have fucked it up. They didn't. It's brilliant. His entire interaction here is just plausible. The characterization is great. The writing is great. His interaction with Lois Lane is great. Again, as I say, this is set in the New 52 in theory, but I guess a minor spoiler warning for the New 52 and the romantic relationships in that. So skip forward 20 seconds if you want. But in the New 52, it was very well known that the Superman character in that hooks up with Wonder Woman. He doesn't hook up with Lois Lane. That's not happening here. He's not with Wonder Woman. This is just him developing like a bit of a chemistry with Lois Lane here. This could have been published and released in 2009, 2010, before the New 52 started. Simi, this character, Wraith, is kind of self-contained to this story. The artwork is amazing. The writing is amazing. The basic plot line is really, really clever and intelligent. It's very different to a lot of Scott Snyder's plots, in that Scott Snyder is, in my interpretation at least, very much a horror writer. He writes brilliant psychological horror. If you read stuff like The Wake and obviously his Batman run in New 52, he's really good at that. This doesn't go into that same area. It goes into more kind of political stuff and more sort of stuff about identity, which is really, really interesting. Again, beautiful artwork. Any of these images could be a poster. You'd be happy to have this as a display on your wall. So the storyline is great, but quite unlike Snyder's normal stuff. The artwork, banging, Jim Lee stuff. The storyline, totally self-contained. What's going on here? Is these the extras? My God, these are the extras. There are a lot of extras. I'll pause talking for a second. Let's just flick through these. God damn. So many alternate covers. So many alternate covers. And they're all collected here. They're all collected here. Definitely worth getting the deluxe edition. Oh, God damn. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Beautiful. Beautiful stuff. Sorry about the lighting on the video, as usual. It's another gloomy day here in the UK. And then it's got a script. Here is the extra features, which is really nice to see. Where was I? Yeah, without giving spoilers, I mean, I just want to say, introduction of a really interesting new character that is only in this series. Really well written. Great story arc and idea. Disconnected from New 52 continuity. Now, within my reading guide that I flashed up a moment ago, I didn't say this was out of continuity because it's not definitively or distinctly out of continuity, but you can view it as an Elseworld self-contained 9-issue maxi series, and it is great as that. And I think the shame of it is, because it was part of the New 52, a lot of people essentially don't read it because they think you need to read the Action Comics stuff or the Supergirl stuff or whatever. And that's not the case. You can just pick this up and read it. You should pick it up and read it. It's great. I love it. It's one of my favourite New 52 stories, period, as a self-contained one and done. Obviously, I'm a big New 52 fan, so it's a lot for me to say that this is one of my favourite New 52 stories. We have been robbed by the fact that there is not an absolute edition of this. This is absolutely banging, and we should have a bigger, better, nicer version of it. So there we have it. That's all I wanted to recommend. This is Superman Unchained, incredibly overlooked, forgotten, and just kind of not considered. I've never heard a negative review of it. Anyone that you mention it to that's read it will go, oh yeah, Superman Unchained, read that, not bad. Or they will say, actually, that was really good. But they tend to couch that within, oh, that was really good, but it was part of the New 52. Ignore that. This is just really good. I've not heard anyone say anything bad about it, and the critical reviews for it in the mainstream press when it came out were very good as well. If you get a chance to pick it up, please do. It is available in a trade paperback, and that trade paperback, again, collects all 9 issues, but doesn't have any of the extra features. It's still in print. The hardcover is great. It's a shame it's not an absolute edition. Artwork is great. Storyline is great. If you're a Superman fan, you owe it to yourself. If you're a Jim Lee fan, you owe it to yourself. If you're a Scott Snyder fan, you owe it to yourself. And if you're a New 52 fan, then hopefully you've read this already. But if you haven't, you don't need to read anything else. Just read this as a one and done. And it works really well. There we have it, ladies, gentlemen and others. This is New 52, Superman Unchained, a little known comic you should try. Let me know what you think about it if you've read it. Have you heard of it? Are you thinking of trying it? Has my video changed your mind? Are you planning on checking it out in your local library or borrowing it from someone to make up your own mind? Let me know in the comments down below. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. As always, please like, comment, subscribe. As always, please follow me on Twitter at I am Thomas Judge, where I will post a daily review of whatever comics I've been reading. You can get an idea of what I'm up to on the channel. And as always, please support the channel by heading over to Amazon.com and checking out my prose novel about superheroes. It's a completely original piece of work. The first episode in it is called Arrivals, and the series as a whole is called No Gods or Kings. You can find an excerpt of that on my website, nogodsorkings.com. Until next time, everybody, stay classy.